By the way, by North America, I'm only referring to the US and Canada. Some of the other countries that I'll be comparing it to is countries that I've visited personally, which is Mexico, Vietnam, Thailand, and Taiwan. So, uh, one of the main differences is that women in these other countries, in compared to North America, they're more relaxed. So, say in Thailand, you might have a date, and you'll notice that the girl, even though she just met you, she'll speak to you as if she already knows you, as if you're already her friend. Probably because she grew up with a lot of guy friends. They're just more social there. People there have more social circles. And so she's more used to talking to guys. She doesn't find it to be a big deal. There isn't as much sexual tension. So the date just feels a lot better versus, say, in the US or Canada. A lot of times you find anxiety in women. You find that they might be trying to fill in silent gaps really fast. They might be speaking too fast. They might not be able to keep and hold eye contact properly. You can just feel it in their body language, right? I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing. I think that it's actually good. You could use it to your advantage. I think that if it is happening, you find that the girl is anxious on a date, it's not a good idea to try to reduce that anxiety because most likely you're going to try to be funny, make jokes, you're going to try to be a little bit silly to some extent, ease the situation, which, yeah, you might reduce her anxiety, but she'll also lose attraction for you. You should view this anxiety as sexual tension. Um, and you should try to maintain that anxiety throughout the date because you're more likely to get compliance when you invite her to go back home if she has that little bit of anxiety. It's basically she's feeling butterflies in your presence. So you could say that she's feeling butterflies for you. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you try to reduce it and you get into a fun conversation where the girl is having fun and she's comfortable in North America, I believe there's a lesser chance of getting compliance. And again, I don't think you're trying to seek familiarity or comfort. You're trying to seek compliance. And that tiny bit of anxiety tends to create compliance, at least for me. In a place like Mexico or in Asia, you don't need that anxiety. You can have a fun conversation. You can get into deep topics, and the girl is still just as likely to go back to your place with you. You don't need to create anxiety in the girl to get compliance. Um, could be because you're a foreigner, but I think it goes beyond that. I don't think it's only the foreigner privilege that you get there. For example, when I go to Mexico, they speak to me in Spanish, and I respond in Spanish because it's my native tongue. So I don't get that foreigner privilege that I might get in Asia, but my results are still the same, very similar in Mexico as they are in Asia, which is a lot better than the results in Canada and the US. So, so yeah, it's just you don't need to create anxiety, you don't need to create that sexual tension, and you still get the compliance that you want in those countries. Another difference is that in those countries you'll get more matches, of course, for being a foreigner, but it's a little bit more than that. So, say you're an American, you go to Vietnam, you'll find that you get more matches there because they do like foreigners better. They place foreigners at the top of the social hierarchy. But keep in mind that your only options are to date women who also speak English. So that's a smaller portion of the population. They don't all speak English. So although you're getting a boost from the foreigner privilege, you're also getting a reduction because you can only choose from women who speak English. So there should be a level of balance there. I think another factor that people miss, why it's easier to date in those countries, is because those countries people are happier. I think what tends to happen in North America is that the culture just isn't as happy. There's a lot higher levels of depression in North America, and in a culture with high levels of unhappiness, you're gonna have a lot of femcells. You're gonna have a lot of women who are too anxious to actually go on dates. Some of them might dabble. They'll go on Tinder, they'll talk to a lot of guys, and they'll just waste a lot of guys' time, but they'll never actually go on dates. And then there's another section who become extremely picky. They're too anxious to date, and they're not very happy overall. So what they do is a person who isn't too happy, they're not easy to please. A miserable person lives within that misery. They can only be happy if they get the best of the best. So what they do is they hold out and wait to get a guy who's in that top 10%. So unless you're in that top 10%, you're going to have more scarcity than you would in a country where people are more happy. So I think that's a big factor. Um, if a woman is anxious, she's a lot less likely to go on dates. And I think this is my theory. I don't know for sure. This is a very difficult piece of information to uncover. Um, but I think the levels of happiness in a society have a lot to do with influences the dating market a lot. I think women in Thailand, they're very happy and they don't think twice before meeting a guy. If they find him attractive on the app, they're a lot more likely to say yes to a date because they're happy. They want to go out, they want to hang out. If you're unhappy and miserable and depressed, the thought about going on a date gives you more anxiety. Another thing that I find in North America that you don't see at all in other countries is a certain level of judgmentalness. This is something that I confirm with other men. Uh, Sometimes, not always, but on a date, you might find there's a moment of disqualification. The date might be going well, but after the man says something, the woman becomes quiet, looks at the man, and changes her demeanor. Her mood dies down a little bit. Her energy dies down a little bit. She stops trying. And this happens because she just judged harshly whatever that man said. And this judgment doesn't have to be correct, even. It could be. A lot of guys say stupid things that make them look bad. But oftentimes, what might happen is her misjudgment made her lose attraction and made her quickly disqualify that man. So, for example, I had a date a couple of years ago in Canada where a woman was talking, and after I said something, she became quiet and gave me that kind of judgmental look, and I could see that her energy changed. So I said, "What was that thought right there?" Because whatever it was is incorrect. I can see that you're judging, and I can guarantee that whatever it is that you're thinking, you're wrong. And then she started talking. She's like, "Well, you just said that you date multiple women at the same time." Actually, I didn't say that at all. That wasn't even the topic of my conversation. What I had said is that a woman's dating strategy should be like this: she should go out with a man for about a month to 6 weeks. If it's not leading to something serious and she wants it to lead to something serious, she should stop seeing that man and start new, start fresh with someone new. Because if she doesn't stop seeing that first man and she starts seeing a second one, if if with that second man the relationship starts to get serious, it starts to look like it's going somewhere, the situationship she has with the first man is going to negatively affect the possibilities with that second one, because that second one is going to feel a certain level of resistance coming from the woman, because she's dating, her attention is dispersed. She's dating two men. She has perhaps feelings for that first one, and therefore she's trying not to catch too much feelings for the second one. Just overall, women don't handle dating multiple men very well. Usually, you can tell. If you're a man who's dating a woman and she's dating other men, it leaks in her behavior. You can easily tell. You go to kiss a girl, she tightens her lips a little too much. She's trying not to catch feelings. So this causes issues for women when they're trying to find a serious relationship. So I had explained this to her, and what she heard is that I said that I date multiple women at the same time, which I do, but I didn't say that at all, not even close. So she misheard me, or she wasn't paying attention, and she made up whatever she wanted in her mind. And then she judged me harshly based on her ignorant perception. So that's something that tends to happen. Perhaps you want to try it next time. If you see a woman go quiet and give you a look as if she's judging you, and you know she's kind of disqualifying you on a date, point it out. Be like, what are you thinking right now? What is that thought? I know you're judging, and I can guarantee that you're incorrect. So what is it that you're thinking? Most likely, is she's off. So try it out. Another difference that I notice in dating in North America versus in other places, once you have one date with a woman, say in Thailand, Vietnam, Mexico, whatever, they the second date, they tend to want to stay with you longer. They want to stay with you multiple days. It's up to you whether you do, but you might have to kick them out. Um, they're just comfortable hanging out with you. There's no overthinking. There's no necessary stress or anxiety. They just want to spend time with you. Um, Even in Mexico, where they think I'm Mexican, I don't get that foreigner privilege. Same thing. In North America, it's as if women are playing their own game. Perhaps they're trying not to come across too clingy. They're trying not to catch feelings, whatever it is. And they sometimes, they always want to sleep over. That always happens. But oftentimes I find that they'll leave early in the morning, even before I wake up. Even if they're not working, they still leave early, almost as if to, I don't know, to pretend not to be clingy, whatever it is. It's something I'm sure that comes from anxiety. But in other countries, you don't get that. You get a much more relaxed, chill vibe. You're the one who might have to kick them out, make up some excuse, and so on. Uh, One thing that is similar about uh, all countries is that you get flakes. You probably get the same amount of flakes in Asia, in Mexico, as you do in um, North America, in the US and Canada. But the difference is that you get a lot more dates in those countries. Therefore, the flakes don't matter as much. If you're in Canada and you're getting like a one date a month and half of them flake, it's a big deal. But if you're getting 4 dates a week in Thailand, then if half of them flake, you still got 2 dates that probably you're going to close and you'll make a connection with. So the flakes just don't matter because of your high abundance. Here's a big one. This might not pertain to everybody, but for me, I try to ensure that when I meet a girl, after I've slept with her, I sometimes they ask if I'm seeing other girls, or that comes up to the conversation. And I say yes. I try to be honest because I want to reduce jealousy. I want to make sure that if if the relationship with that girl becomes deeper, jealousy from her part isn't going to ruin it. A lot of girls don't understand that men have sex the way they masturbate. Having sex with a girl for a man, most likely it's just like jerking off the porn. Uh, it doesn't mean you're going to catch feelings. In my experience, I've caught feelings with about less than 3% of all women I've slept with. So women don't get this. They think that men are similar to them. Therefore, if they are sleeping with other girls, there's a chance that he will catch feelings for other girls, and therefore he's going to start treating her different. He's going to start being more dismissive towards her, but that's not the case. Anyways, um, there's no way you can explain this to a girl. They won't understand it. The only woman who understood it was a psychologist. She's the one who brought it up in conversation, actually. So, but there's no way to explain this to women. The only way that I've gotten a woman to accept that, or the idea of me seeing other girls, completely, within a relationship, is creating a threesome. So when you're first dating casually, when I'm first dating casually, I would get two of the girls. By the way, I would be honest, I didn't finish that story. During a first date, after having sex, I would simply I would let the girl know that I'm seeing other girls, and I would show her videos of me having sex with other girls. Um, well, of course, it's consensual. The other girls know that, but I want to reduce that jealousy from the start. I want to say this is who I am, take it or leave it. And in other countries, they're okay with it. They don't try to bargain steep. And so what I do is I try to get two girls to meet each other. I've done this a couple of times already, and have a threesome. So what I find is that before they have a threesome, there is some resistance and there is some jealousy that happens. But as soon as they touch, as soon as they start kissing or whatever, that jealousy disappears. They're very into each other, and even afterwards, they talk about each other and they want to do it again. And the jealousy completely diminishes, or at least to a big extent, which proves my previous theory, which is that all women are um, bisexual. I believe that all women are bisexual, and that perhaps nature intended humans to live in harems, where a man has multiple women, multiple wives. So anyways, when I try to do this in North America, I get a lot of jealousy, even from the start. Even if it's a girl who I met on Tinder and we're meeting specifically to hook up, if I show her that I'm seeing other girls, if I tell her that I'm seeing other girls, they show signs of jealousy. Perhaps they'll bring up the fact that they're seeing other guys as well, and they'll try to become malevolent about it. They'll try to make me feel like those guys are better than me to some extent. And I can see through it. It doesn't hurt me because I know they're trying to make me jealous. Where I wasn't trying to do that. I was simply just showing them who I am. Look, I see other girls. I'm into threesomes, you know, which probably the girl is as well, whether she knows it or not. Um, so yeah, you get a lot more jealousy in North America than in other countries. Overall, other countries are better. That's why there is such a thing as passport bros, because it's men who traveled, dated in other places, and notice the huge difference that it is. Dating and just culture-wise, just happiness level. Um, Here's the big one: in Thailand, or Vietnam, or Taiwan, you there's so much commerce. You just walk down the street, and let's say you don't have a plan for a date, just walking down the street is fun because there's a lot to see. Um, it's almost like everywhere is downtown, even at suburbs. And there's so much to do, so much to see, and so cheap. If you're a foreigner and you tend to make more, then you'll easily come across a restaurant, a coffee shop, something, and you can walk in without thinking, and it'll be affordable. You can walk into many places, and it's just fun. They also have such things as walking streets, which is a street that they close, where no cars, no motorbikes get through, and it's just made for walking. It's perfect for a date. So you don't even have to plan your dates that much. Uh, you might try that in North America. Well, no, you have to drive most times. But let's say you're in the downtown core in some big city, you might try that, and you might walk into a restaurant and then find out that you're gonna spend close to $100 in for two people. So it's not feasible. You have to plan your dates in North America. It's just the culture is just not as fun. So yeah, those are the differences that I could come up with. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, and share this video with your friends. Take care.